Hello, welcome to Distributed. Thank you so much for joining us for this session. We are going to be talking about collaborative DevOps in the scope of AWS and Miro. And I have two amazing speakers with us today. I'm Margot. I work on the product marketing side of Miro, and I'm really excited to have this conversation around collaborative DevOps and how it can be so useful for product development teams. Sean, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Margot. Yeah, so I'm Sean Winters. I'm a platform architect here at Miro. So I've been at Miro about 2 years actually. Yeah, 2 years last week, I think. And yeah, I'm a specialist in Miro's SDKs, REST APIs, and embed capabilities. And what I do is I help partners and customers and even Mironeers build stuff on the Miro developer platform, essentially. So yeah, great to be here.
Awesome. Faz, let's hear about
Yep.
you.
Thanks, Margo. Hey, folks, I'm Faz. I'm short for Mohammed Fazlullah. I am a developer advocate at Amazon Web Services. I do outreach to developers, work on enabling them on the cloud, doing talks, giving workshops. But in a previous life, I also used to be a solutions architect. So I used to work with customers of AWS who would build their projects and their products on the cloud. And I would collaborate with them and then afterwards show them what's the best option or what are the different trade-offs that are available, different discussions. So super excited to be part of this discussion with Miro.
Awesome. I am stoked to start this conversation, and I would love to get a better sense from you both. What does collaborative DevOps mean to you, and what does it mean in the scope of AWS and Miro? Why is it important for product development teams to enable collaborative DevOps?
Cool. Yeah, maybe I'll go first. So I guess to me, well, DevOps, the kind of term was coined. It was coined to break down silos between software development and the deployment and operations of software. So I think collaborative DevOps wants to break down those silos even further, but maybe this time silos between teams or individuals on teams. So it's about fostering a culture of sharing information, making it easier to make decisions together. Because most companies, they have people working across time zones in different offices or hybrid work situations. So you need to have processes and ways of sharing information that work whether you're working from home, the office, or from a different time zone. And it's also about the ability to be able to do collaboration synchronously and asynchronously. And I guess finally, I'd say that it's about having tools to make DevOps processes collaborative, but also democratic and also protective of engineers' time.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like there is a lot of context switching in product development right now, and collaborative DevOps seems to be a way to just make sure we can streamline that as much as possible.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll just add an interesting perspective from Amazon. So we have this concept what we call as a two pizza team, where we talk about having smaller teams. What Jeff Bezos said when he brought up this concept of two pizza teams is that we try to create teams that are no larger than what can be fed by two pizzas. And depending on which city you are, definitely the number of pizzas changes. But usually we see this is a number that changes from like probably 6 to 8, probably 10, a little bit more if you stretch it. But the key thing, the key messaging behind this concept is this whole idea of having a small team that enables collaboration. Like Sean just mentioned right now, it's because the more collaborative a team is, the more faster they go in terms of delivering value to the customers. Software releases become much faster because communication channels are super clear. This also allows you to address issues faster because you know exactly who can come onto the table immediately to fix certain things. And one of the ways you want to do that is to create a space of sorts which allows teams to come on board, right? You have team members coming on board, discussing issues, making sure that the issues are super clear and everything is clearly mentioned in text through diagrams or anything else that's there. So we see communication being enabled by a model like this, and definitely having a collaborative approach for DevOps especially really helps, because you're trying to address the value that's being delivered to the customer by actually ensuring that your communication channels are super clear internally.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As we go into more of the Miro and AWS aspect, how does Miro enhance the AWS ecosystem for infrastructure diagramming? I'm wondering if you can give us some practical examples of how teams have leveraged the capability around their own development projects.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, in a past life, I've been a solutions architect, and one of the things that we have always seen is with customers, when they come and they want to work with AWS, build their products on AWS, they come to solution architects. They ask for advice. They ask for things like, okay, if can I go with X service or Y service? What's the different trade-offs? And as a solutions architect, you need to make sure that you provide the right information, right? Whether it's from documentation, whether it's connecting with service teams. And one of the ways we see this happening is collaboratively over calls. Now, in the old days before the pandemic, definitely in-person meetings were the norm, and it was easy to just go onto a whiteboard and then draw a different architecture diagrams, talk about the requirements of a customer. That changed with the pandemic, and we see that mode still carrying on in terms of having, even if it's in person right now, we still want to have a digital approach to capturing all of that information and then searching through it later, right? Archiving it for information purposes within the teams. We see this happening. Different teams at customers, they use different tooling, and we usually just use the tool that the customer brings to the table, and then afterwards collaborate within that space.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So yeah, this kind of single-threaded approach that was in place before the pandemic, it's kind of still maybe persisting a bit. So for me, I think, like you were saying, Faz, yeah, for me, I think Miro really democratizes engineering and architecture design. So you could, like you said, there's so many ways to do things in AWS. You could give one brief for a service in AWS, give it to 10 engineers, and each of those 10 engineers might have slightly different architectures or completely different architectures, just because there's so many ways to do things. You could do containerization, you could do EC2 machines, you could do AWS managed services. And like you're saying, yeah, traditional meetings, they're single threaded. There's a Zoom call. One person can speak at a time, or it's an in-person meeting with one person sharing their screen, which is the bottleneck.
Yep.
And I think in those situations as well, it can devolve into Hippo. I don't know if you've heard the term before. I've only kind of recently started hearing it. But Hippo is HPPO, and it's the highest paid person's opinion. So that's where, everybody is in a room. They defer to the highest paid person, or the person with the fanciest job title or whatever. So I think where Miro is great is, firstly, it's multi-threaded, so multiple people can come in and work at the same time. So you can have multiple engineers working on multiple different choices of architecture. Another nice thing is there's voting. So once you have maybe 3 or 4 architectures, you can use the voting feature in Miro, and it can be anonymous. So architectures are chosen based on merit rather than the Hippo or the highest paid person's opinion. There's also private mode as well. So in Miro, you can do a private sticky session, and you can share opinions without kind of fearing the blow back later. But yeah, that kind of free sharing should be built into the culture anyway. So yeah, this is better for innovation in companies. More voices heard. There's less lost ideas. Because I'm sure, like, how many times have you been in a meeting? You've had an idea that you would have liked to share. You'd like to share, and you don't get a chance to share it, but then last minute you get a chance. Everybody loves it, and it turns out that's the direction the team goes. So I think because Miro democratizes the engineering and architecture design, less ideas are lost. There's less kind of filibustering by dominant personalities, and people are more likely to share ideas when they get heard on a continuous basis as well. So I think this would lead to like less burnout in teams as well, because yeah, it's always dangerous when smart people go silently gradually over time due to not being heard.
Absolutely. And if anything, just on the sticky notes part, I feel you over there, because a lot of times we're restricted by the chat program that we use and how messages actually go up and down and they get hidden. And if you put in a thought, nobody even realizes that you actually put something in. Visually
Yeah.
seeing that on a board definitely really helps. And we've seen that happen when we have a collaborative space with our customers. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think this is a really great opportunity to jump into the product and give a sense of what is possible. I know, Sean, you've prepared a demo for us.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, let me share my screen. Okay, and yes, okay. So so I think Faz is on the board with me. So this is a public board. I can see you looking around there, Faz. So you're probably curious what this is all about. So basically, I've been commissioned on this executive's pet project. So they want something built basically. So I don't think this is like a 2 pizza team or even a 1 pizza team. It's just me working on it right now. So maybe half a pizza. I can manage half a pizza. But yeah, I'd like you to maybe come on the board and maybe channel your previous life as a solution architect, and maybe we can try and choose a solution for this project. So here, yeah, I've got my Kanban built into Miro, and I have my cards here to track all my tasks. So one of these cards that's in progress here is requirements gathering. So you probably have had a quick look at that, but I'll expand it out for the viewers at home. So yeah, this executive has charged me with building this service. They've assured me it's very important and it aligns to an OKR, but I'm not sure which OKR it aligns to yet. But the main requirement here that's troubling me is the 5 nines of uptime. So yeah, to me, 5 nines isn't that much time to be down, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't give us many minutes a year to play with. So I'll actually start a timer as well, because it's important. I'm under pressure here, but it's also important that we time box this and we get things done, and we can go back to our own engineering projects and all that good stuff. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm landing on the architecture. So before I jump into the architecture, I might jump into an article that was written by some of your colleagues in AWS. So our project needs a database for some information, and I'm trying to choose between kind of bare bones RDS Postgres or Amazon Aurora Postgres. So yeah, I was having a look through this article, and I kind of landed on the main points here. So there's a section on crash recovery, and there's failover. So what I'm hearing is, yeah, Aurora Postgres SQL is a better choice in terms of quick database recovery, and also for failover as well. So it's 30 seconds for Postgres SQL, and then I think your kind of standard RDS Postgres is 60 to 120 seconds. But yeah, like I said, that 5 nines of availability, we need every ounce of uptime we got, right?
Yep, we totally do.
Cool. So I've built 2 architecture diagrams here. So they're both highly available across multiple availability zones and all that good stuff. The main difference is that RDS database. So here I have my kind of standard RDS, and over here I have my Aurora RDS. So I'm just going to use a little app that we created with some of your colleagues from AWS, actually. We got great help from them. And what we can do here is we can grab an architecture diagram. We can see the pricing of different architectures. So if I click on my RDS database, I can, it'll zoom in, and it'll also give me some metadata about that. So we can see the database engine here is, it's your kind of bog standard Postgres SQL. So I'll jump over to the other diagram and I'll highlight this. So in this one, we can see that we've got most of the same icons, but in this case, we've got the Aurora Postgres SQL engine. So I guess if we were to compare the two, so I can have a look at this one, I can see, it's 70 cents per hour. And it's about 6,167 per year. And then on this side, it's a little bit of extra per hour. And then per year, it's maybe €300 more per year. So to me, although Aurora is a little bit more expensive, we get those kind of trade-offs. I'm not getting a database administrator for my team. Like I said, it's a very small team. So I just wanted I wondered what you thought of that.
Oh, this is definitely interesting because you've taken the whole requirement of the uptime. You've also looked at things like the crash recovery side of things. Seeing the fact that even the article is mentioned within the canvas, which you highlight with the certain points, so that anyone from the leadership team all the way down to any developer can actually look at this decision making in real time, I think is pretty awesome. One other thing on calculations, and this is something that we have seen a lot of times. And like I said, in my past life as a solutions architect, we do the diagramming. I mean, and especially when you go to a physical whiteboard, you do the diagram, it's great. And the next question that comes up is, okay, how much is this going to cost us? And that's when we go to our calculator. And it's a calculator which is heavily used. And we've gotten out the new version. It's been out for almost like 2 years. Where we go in, we plug in all the numbers, we plug in everything else. And then afterwards, we tie that back to an architecture diagram and then afterwards share that with the customers. Seeing this in action is definitely an interesting experience because you could have teams like a solutions architect, for example, interacting with the customer, drawing all this out, and then after that, just dragging and saying, okay, fine, this is the cost, this is the threshold that we have. Let's see what we could change within this architecture to make it meet it, to push that cost under the threshold. And seeing that comparison just happening in front with the cost, I think is definitely a really good experience for the customer, at least from the fact that they see everything in front right now with the costs and all, and anyone can just refer to this and then take the discussion forward on how they want to implement it moving next. So
Great, that's great to hear. So I think with that, I can go to my requirements gathering. I can tick these off because we've solved that, and I can probably move this to done, and maybe it sounds like we're gonna go with the Aurora as well, so I can move that to done. And it looks like we'll have it done in time for our Christmas retrospective in December. So nice. Thanks for your help, Faz.
Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that demo. That's awesome to see everything in action. I want to touch quickly on the security aspect. Can you tell us, Sean, about how the combination of Miro and AWS talks through security, ensures governance and management throughout that lifecycle?
Yep, no, it's a great question. So so a fact about Miro is that 99 of the Fortune 100 use Miro in some shape or form. So I'm not sure who the last holdout is, but at least 99 of the Fortune 100 are using it, and they're all using it to create the next big thing. So what that means is they're putting sensitive data into Miro with their new ideas or their current processes for product development or DevOps or their architectures and all that great stuff. So in light of that, yeah, we have to be very, very secure to protect that customer's information. So yeah, we go through the standard audits like the ISO audit. We have got SOC 2 and SOC 3 reports. If you want your data to be in a specific region, we have data residency in the US, in EU. We've also this is where I bring up AWS. We've also been through the AWS well-architected review. So that's a review all companies hosted on AWS should go through. One of the pillars of the review is security. So it goes heavily into making sure you're building a secure solution. So Miro has passed that review. I'll also quickly plug an integration that I got to build with the AWS team, and that's the well-architected review integration. So that's actually available on the AWS sample. So if you Google Miro AWS well-architected, it should come up as the top result. But what this does is it lets you import your high risk and medium risk items from your AWS account and bring them in as cards into Miro. So like we saw on the Kanban board that I showed earlier in the session, you can bring in well-architected review items into Miro by doing a small deployment of this app that's available in the app samples repo for AWS.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I think we highlighted a few themes, right? I'm hearing themes around democratization. I'm hearing themes around collaboration, and themes around organization and removing silos as well. So I'm really happy to have had that conversation today. And for everyone listening in, we do have an opportunity for folks to take advantage of a business trial to try out some of these features. I'll link to our AWS landing page, which actually I'll share my screen, why not, and give you a look. So this LP, you can get in touch with us around any of these features that you heard about today, and then just scroll it on down and you can take advantage of our 3-month trial of the Miro business plan for AWS customers. I'm stoked to have talked to you both. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll get together soon around AWS and Miro.
Yep.
Thanks,
Margo. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Faz. Thanks, Margo.